Shalom to the nation of Israel. This is Barazal coming in spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Our honor to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson is going to be going to seeking wisdom, right? Especially now more than ever. That's the only thing you should be seeking, right? Or one of the things you should be seeking, and that wisdom is going to come through Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? Through that Rakah Kwadash, right? Proverbs 1 and 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. And that's what you want to, you want to have that. You want to know wisdom and instruction, right? To be able to perceive the words of understanding. Because the thing is, people have wisdom, but they actually don't understand it, right? And I've encountered people like that. Like, there was a guy I worked for, and basically the job we were doing, we were painting decks, sanding them, staining them. And he has the experience because he's been doing it for years, but he actually didn't understand how to teach it, right? He didn't understand how to teach it, and he didn't even understand completely the stuff that he knew. So I had to ask him questions for him to, I guess, bring it out at the right moment and right time to teach it so I can learn from it, because he didn't even know how to do that, right? So the thing is, like, people have, I guess, information. I don't know if I want to call it wisdom, but they have information that they don't even fully understand to teach, or just understand or grasp the information that they have, right? To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels, right? So, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, I am, learning how to be wise. So when I asked those questions from that guy, and he, basically recited what he remembered from what he did through his experiences, I obtained more learning in that craft or skill, right? To understand a proverb and their interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings, right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction, right? And that's how it says the beginning of knowledge. So once you fear the Lord, you're already ahead of everyone else who doesn't fear the Lord. And that's only the beginning of you becoming becoming or starting that journey on being wise, right? But fools despise wisdom. So fools despise wisdom, right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So that means the fool will actually despise Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They will despise being humble to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? Because they are knowledge, they are wisdom, they are understanding, they are instruction, they are servitude. You have to be obedient, right? If you don't want to be obedient, you're not gonna fear Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. Because it'll keep you, and it's the reason why I said chains about thy neck is because it'll make you obedient, like a servant, like a slave, like a prisoner, like a captive, right? It's going to keep you in the right path, right? And there's actually, I have a precept for that. If I can remember where it is. Obedience. Okay, Okay, right here, 2 Corinthians 10:5. Casting down imagination and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai. That's just one example of obedience in being a captive. So a captive is someone who's been caught, a prisoner, right? Also a slave, right? So it says right here, and chains about thy neck. So you're bringing things into captivity. Every thought that's against Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which includes, like I said up here, which includes fearing him, right? Right? Because if you despise him, you're not being a captive. You're not being obedient. You're not being obedient. Right? And if you despise him, you actually don't have chains about around your neck. Like it says, and chains about thy neck. Even though spiritually you do. That's a whole different conversation. But just for this conversation, the ones that are despising Yahweh Shem Yoshai are not being obedient unto him. And on top of that, because they're not being obedient, they don't fear him. Because they'll do things that's contrary to the scriptures, right? So let's go on. Let's move on from this. I have a lot of precepts, but I don't want to, I'm trying to make this quick. Because right now, the times we're in, if you don't fear Yahweh Shem Yoshai, you're not being an obedient servant, obedient prisoner, what does he have? What is he going to do? Like, what purpose does he have for you if you're not being obedient? You're if you think about this, like these slave owners back in slave times, they had slaves that were obedient and slaves that weren't obedient. Who do you think they kind of, had more favor towards? The slave that was obedient or the slave that wasn't obedient? The slave that was obedient. Now, he was still a slave, but they were more kinder to that one because he knew his place. He knew they were the master and he was a slave, right? Because of fear. Because they were afraid of what was going to happen to them if they didn't submit unto their master. So the master is Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So a wise servant is going to submit unto his master and acknowledge him and fear him. And through that, you get smarter, right? Because those obedient slaves back then lived longer than the disobedient ones. The disobedient ones, they try to rebel, they try to run. And what happened? They got killed and they died. It's the same relationship, same thing, but on a spiritual level. Okay? So we're in Proverbs 2, and I'm trying to go to the point. Actually, you know what? Just read this. Proverbs 2:1. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart, which is mine, to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord Yahweh and find a knowledge of Yahweh. Right? So you have to be constantly searching for it, constantly thinking upon it, constantly praying for it. But most importantly, right, you have to fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? You have to fear him. Because then it says, then shalt thou understand the fear. So you understand the fear of the Lord and find knowledge of Yahweh. Because you have to understand why you fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Why? Fearing him is one thing, but understanding why you fear him. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. A buckler, I believe, is a shield. So someone who's walking uprightly is someone who's walking righteously, like an upright man. He does the right thing, right? So Yahweh Shem Yahushai is a shield for them. So he's going to protect them. right? He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserveth the way of his saints. And his saints are the Israelites, but more importantly, the elect, right? He's only dealing with the elect right now. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, every good path. Every good path. So you know the good paths and you know the bad paths, right? So you stay on the right path. When wisdom entereth in thy mind, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things. So keep you away from wicked people, right? And if you're around wicked people, you see them. You know they're wicked, or evil. From this man that speaketh forward things. And the man that speaketh forward things is going to try and trap you into traps and snares, right? So because of what I've just read, right? Because Yahweh Shem Yoshai is dealing with you because he's your buckler, you're going to see when a man's saying forward things, deceitful things. You're going to see it. It'll be plain as day. You're like, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. Then you're gonna maneuver around that person or that thing, who leave the path of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, right? Because that's what the forward man does. Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked and they forward in their paths. To deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words. So he even deliver you from the strange woman. Because these women too, right? You have to be careful. At the end of the day, if Yahweh Shem Yahushai is not dealing with you, you're not going to be able to maneuver around these things, right? Which is really Yahweh Shem Yahushai maneuvering you. But you won't be able, it won't happen, right? You fall into those traps. You fall into the ways of the forward man, right? And especially right now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because right now you need Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You need him more than ever. Because things are getting crazy out here. They're getting crazy. People are falling these traps with, you got traps of different camps that are basically don't have 100% truth. You have traps with, just women, with that, you deal with a woman, you get caught up in that emotional storm, right? Because Yahweh Shem Yashai is not dealing with you. And then you deal with just your job, you get caught up with that, like, money, you get caught up with that because you don't want to lose your money. And the reason why I mention these days is because they're all going to tie into, these syringes that are going out there, right? Like your woman might take the syringe and then you feel emotional and she's, making you feel emotional. She's saying you don't love her, blah, 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 blah. And she it plays on your emotions because it's a demon that's jumping on her to make you take the syringe. And this demon jumping on you too. The only reason why the demon's on you and staying on you is because Yahweh Shem Yashai is not dealing with you, right? Or now your job's threatening you to fire you or put you on what's that other word? Basically, I don't know what the word is. I can't think of it right now. But basically, like you're still hired by them. You're still an employee, but you're not getting paid, right? So it puts you there and it'd be like, well, if you take the syringe, you'll be able to work, you get paid, everything's good, right? But because you're making, you need money, you need to pay your bills, it's all, then that demon jumps in, he's like, well, it's just a syringe. It's not the what's it called? I don't want to even use the right words, but the digital tracking chip, it's not that. So technically I'm still good. Right? Sure. Tell yourself that. Technically, you are still good. Technically. But technically you're not, because according to the laws, it says not to take any needles. So you're breaking a law purposely when you can purposely not break it. Right? So it's just even that thought process is so deep because that demon's on you. So it's making you think those are your words, but it's not your words. Right? But, I don't want to go off topic. But the point is that if Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is dealing with you, everything will be clear as day. You'll be able to think clearly. You'll be able to see everything clearly. You won't get caught up in emotions. You won't get caught up in trying to interpret your own understanding instead of the understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Because if you're dealing with the scriptures, it's very clear to you what you can do, what you can't do, what is right and what is wrong, right? And that scenario that I was talking about technically, if you take the syringe and then you're good. No, you're going off. It's just that simple. This law says not to do this, and then you shouldn't be doing it, period, right? Now, it does say follow the law, statute, commandments to the best of your ability, so that when you can follow to the best of your ability, you can purposely and easily avoid taking the syringe, right? So you lose your job. So what? If you trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, He will take care of you anyways. You can find another job. He'll find a way for you to make money if you really need it. That's what, people keep forgetting, right? Yahweh ruleth in the kingdom of men, roughly paraphrasing, right? And I'm just going to go into another one. So like that scenario that I just mentioned is happening to a lot of people, a lot of so-called Israelites, right? Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation, right? So the strength of your salvation is going to be the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And it says the fear of the Lord is his treasure. So if you fear the Lord, you're good. You're good. That scenario that I just mentioned is not going to happen to you because you fear the Lord. So therefore, he's going to make you stable. And if you're stable, that means you have wisdom and knowledge, right? And understanding. So you'd be like, well, okay, what does the scripture say? I can't take the needle. Well, that's it. I got to trust in the Lord. I'll be good. Most I say he's going to protect his saints. I just read that. So you're good. There's nothing else to think about. Just keep moving. That's it. Right? All the other stuff is just a demon on you and he's playing with your emotions. Whether it jumps on a woman, whether it jumps on you, and it plays on whatever carnal thing of the world. Right? Anyways, yeah, I already made the point. This was supposed to be longer. I did have more precepts, but the point has been made. There's no point of keep going. I hope this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. And you just got to trust in the Lord. You have to trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That's what the scriptures are there for. They're comforters. Supposed to comfort you in these dark times. Okay? So always back it up with the scriptures. What does the scripture say? Don't try and interpret it on your own understanding. What does the scripture say? It says I can do this, I can't do that. Okay, perfect. Keep it moving. Right? Shalom.